Okay, so I'm going to show a little bit about ASP.NET Web Forms using Visual Basic. So I'm going to create a new project here, and I will select Web Forms. Windows Forms, Windows Forms, Windows Forms, Windows Forms, Windows Forms. Okay, where's Web Forms? ASP.NET. ASP.NET Web Application.NET Framework in VB. I think that's what I'm looking for. So we'll just call this VB Web Forms Tutorial 1. And we will put it in this folder here. .NET Framework version 4.8.1. Actually, I think that might be 4.1. So we'll create a Web Forms app. Authentication, I need to set that up right now. We're going to turn off HTTPS. I'll need that for a test demo. Okay, so create this project. And this is going to create the project, and we've got a bunch of files here. So this default project has a default page. Now one handy thing about web forms is you get this little designer, which is supposed to give you a preview of your page, and it looks pretty nice. So what we can do then, let's add a new page. Go back to our source code for default.aspx, and let's just put, I think we have just another div. Inside that div, we can put a anchor tag. Let's call it cats.aspx. Have that linked there, so now we will have a, we gotta put in some content, don't we? Yeah, that would help. Cats. So now we have a cats link here. So now we can add a cats.aspx page. Go add a new item, cats.aspx, and it already knows that we want an ASPX page. Now you'll see up at the top here we have a code behind file. Now the project you're working on might not have code behind, but basically what it is a place to keep code associated with a page without actually putting it inside the page, making the code a little bit cleaner. So what we want to do then is we want to create that file because it does not seem to actually exist. Or maybe it does, okay. So you go to here, right click the file and hit view code, and it will take you to this page here. It says cats. So this is the class in VB that inherits from the page class. Now if you don't have that, you might have to create it. You can just create a cats.aspx.vb file. So let's see if I can figure out how to delete that file. So I can create it again. Okay. Okay, for some reason that is not letting me do that. But if the page does not exist, or the code behind does not exist, you should be able to create it. You just have to link it up here. So you've got your page tag. It says language equals VB. The auto event wire up is just for like setting up events. You can leave that to be. The code behind would be the file name of your VB code file for the code behind. And the inherits is going to be the name of the class that is in the code behind. See, this cats, and it is in this VB Web Forms Tutorial 1 folder, so it's in that namespace. And so it's a VB Web Forms Tutorial 1.cats, and that references this class inside this file. So what does this code behind do for you? Well, it lets you put code in the page without actually putting it on the page. So, for instance, if you wanted to make a what do I want to make? Let's make a span run at server. Now when you make it run at server, that allows it to be accessed from the VB code before it renders. And we just say this is the span. And now if you look at the designer here, you'll see that span. And I have to go back. View code there. Now you take a look at this class here. So now we have a span, so we can access that span by its ID. And if we give it an ID, oops, how do I get back to the HTML there? Double click over here, bring back the HTML. No, you need to give it an ID. Let's call it the span. And now we can say the span. Now we can access in our VB code, we can say the span dot text, inner text rather, equals, it's now this text that has cats. Yeah, let's put a cat emoji. Alright, so now this, you see this, here it just says this is the span. But when this code runs, it will change the text of the span to this here. That's how you can access a run at server tag in the VB code. And it happens on page load. I think with the we saw this auto event wire up. I think what that means is that, see where it says handles me.load, so that this page load gets associated with the load event of the page. Like here, I think the auto event wire up allows you to leave off this part and it somehow hooks it up automatically, but I'm not entirely sure. But now if we actually run this page, if it'll ever come up, yeah, see now it has gone to this text here with the cats, because this code ran before the page rendered, and so it changed the text of the span. So that's one thing you can do with the code behind. Now you can also make button events. So for instance, you can make button run at server on click equals, actually, how do we do that? On click equals, how does that work? On click. Make a button, and I don't remember how exactly. I think what you want for a code behind button, you would want ASP button. No, oh, then this has to be the text equals button. So now on click becomes a server-side event, and for the JavaScript, it would say on client click. So I can say on click equals click me, and I think what you do here is you make a function, again in the code behind, private sub click me, and then you would say something like message box.show, you can't do that here. Span.inner text equals that tickles. So now I think if you click the button, it should change the text of the span. Oh, that did not work. Click me is not a member, yes it is. Oh, then we can protect it. Because it was private. Technically, I think the HTML page inherits from the code behind. It's not the same class. So I click the button that says that tickles. So you can see now one interesting thing to watch here. See, if you look real closely, you see when I click the button, the whole page refreshes. That is one of the disadvantages of code behind, is that it causes the whole page to refresh when you click things. And that is why that kind of thing is not all that popular anymore. And now, we use JavaScript and things, but, for these older applications, this sort of thing is probably fine. So, yeah, so now if you're wondering how these functions work, so in VB, you can have a class, it can be public or whatever, a class, give it a name. The inherits, I think, actually has to go on the next line. You can't put it up here. It doesn't like that. You have to put it on the next line. Then you give it the name of the class that it inherits from, the base class. So cats is a page. And now page load is a sub. Now a sub is the same as a void function in C#. Sub is the same as a void function in C#. And so, you can see that there, and you get little hints here for this. So that means it doesn't take any, or it doesn't return it. It doesn't return anything. Now you can make a function. So you can say private function. This is private, is only accessed from this class, not from the actual HTML page. So private function, let's say count, let's say get time, let's see, as, now a function has to return something, so this is a as, let's say what it returns, and we can say like date time, and you can say return date time dot now to the current time, and now here in click me you can call that function. I was tickled at, and concatenate get time. So now, when you click the button, so remember that the button has the, the button has the onClick equals click me. Now for a ASP button, this onClick is a server side event, and you would use onClient click to get the client side JavaScript event. For just a regular HTML button, it would be the JavaScript event all the time. So when you click the button, it calls click me, which is over here. It sets the inner text of the span, which is this here. Let's get the HTML again. This span, it sets the inner text of this span to this text that tickles, I was tickled at, and it concatenates the current time. So when we run this, so it says, now this text that has cats, you click the button, and it tells you when it was last tickled. So click it again, the timestamp updates. So that is how you can do some simple HTML tag manipulation in WebForms and ASP.NET. It's an older technology, but it's still functional. It still works. So, you can still use it with older applications. And hopefully that helps you kind of understand, just a little bit about what's going on in these older applications that you've been working on. And I guess I will do another tutorial some other time.